My family and my name have been totally and permanently destroyed. This confirmation process has become a national disgrace. This is a circus. I will not be intimidated into withdrawing from this process. Due process is a foundation of the American rule of law. Due process means listening to both sides. Last time I was here, I told you that when my mom was a prosecutor and I was in high school, she used to practice her closing arguments. Use your common sense. What rings true? What rings false? A lifetime of public service and a lifetime of high-profile public service at the highest levels of American government, and never a hint of anything of this kind. And that's because nothing of this kind ever happened.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to KTEM 1400 on your AM dial, and this is the Common Sense with Conn radio call-in talk show. So if you have something to talk about, the call-in phone number here is 773-1400. That would be area code 254-773-1400. Y'all feel free to call in if it's something you want to talk about. Now, there's so many things to talk about on the news, we shouldn't have any trouble finding something to visit with you about. Now, I've got to be really careful what I say today, because this Kavanaugh hearings has got me so dadgum upset. I'll say something out of line if I'm not careful.
That's all right. I'll keep you in line.
Yeah, that's why my granddaughter is here. I'd like to welcome her to the show. My granddaughter Koby is with us today, and she's going to bring a youthful perspective to the show. As you know, I am no longer youthful, and sometimes I guess maybe I'm not very useful either, but at any rate, we've got Koby on the show with us, and she can sure contribute a lot. And our board man is Eric, and he is youthful, and he's welcome to chime in on something if he wants to talk about it. At any rate, y'all call in if there's something you want to visit about.
Did you read both numbers?
Yeah. Also, if you don't get through on the phone number I just gave you, there is a second phone number you can call, and that would be area code 254-771-2463. That's 254-771-2463. Feel free to call either phone number if you would like, and we'll sure try to visit with you about whatever subject you want to talk about. Now, until somebody does call in and brings up another subject, I'm going to talk about the Kavanaugh hearings. And I know you've heard about it all week, and you're probably tired of hearing about it, and I am too. But we need to listen to these hearings and consider what is going on. I think we need to keep this in perspective. Mr. Kavanaugh has been nominated by Donald Trump to be on the Supreme Court. So during this nominating process, a Senator, Miss Dianne Feinstein, has come forward with a letter from a Mrs. Ford, who is from California, and Mrs. Ford wants to protest the nomination of Mr. Kavanaugh to be on the Supreme Court. Mrs. Ford has decided, or come up with a statement or a letter accusing Mr. Kavanaugh of attempting to rape her when he was 17 years old in high school. Now, she presented 4 witnesses that were supposed to back up her story, But all four witnesses have come forward and said, no, I did not see that, and that did not happen to my knowledge. So her witnesses and her evidence is zero. So to me, it begs the question, did she imagine that that happened? Did she dream that it happened? Was she taking some kind of antidepressant that made her imagine that that happened? Or is she just someone who, and apparently she is an activist, has been to some meetings wearing a vagina hat like Madonna, those kind of people. I guess she is like the Antifa people. So how much credibility does she have?
Well, I really appreciated something that Kavanaugh said in his testimony. He said, I don't doubt that something happened to her. I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm not at all saying that what she's saying is not true or taking away from whatever her experience was. I'm just saying that I was not a part of it.
Well, and we don't know if something happened to her or not. I had an experience many years ago that I will convey to you as an example. I had a in-law of sorts that was a pathological liar. Now, this man worked for IDS, which was a investment part of the what am I trying to say? What express company? The credit card company.
American Express.
Oh yeah, he's part of American Express. It was a financial investment group called IDS, and he worked for them. But he was a pathological liar, and I was amazed at the fact that he would rather climb a telephone pole and tell you a lie than he had to stay on the ground and tell the truth. He could not help himself. He had a mental problem that he just lied. Evidenced by the fact that he lied to some lady and cost her $300 and something thousand, and he wound up going to the penitentiary. But I'm just saying, it gave me an insight into the fact that some people can't help themselves. I don't know if it was his imagination or what it was, but that sucker would lie. And he was an accepted member of IDS Financial Group. So the credentials you have do not rule out the fact that you might be a pathological liar. We have a caller. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hey, Conn, it's Joe. Just wrapping up here at the Veterans Project over here, and I had building fences again today and putting fences in and using an auger and all kinds of equipment I'm not really familiar with, but I got an education about using it today. Had a pretty good turnout. Got a lot done. And just coming along very well. We actually had a ribbon cutting ceremony last Wednesday, and October 20th is when we're going to have another ribbon cutting ceremony to open the community center of the hall. So
good
progress is going well, and things are progressing along. I did want to make a comment also about the Kavanaugh hearings, and I watched the whole thing all day, beginning to end. And the one question that I wanted to ask, but unfortunately I wasn't on the panel, is to ask the lady, Miss Ford, who was 15 years old at the time, how many alcoholic beverages did she actually have? Because she admitted she was there drinking beer with the boys, but not once did anybody confront her and say, well, how many did you have? And maybe that's why she can't remember anything, because she had, and probably at 15 years old, it wouldn't take too many to put someone at that age in a position where, they don't remember anything.
Well, exactly, Joe. And how much much credibility do we give to this? Are we going to allow this lady, who may or may not have a little bit of a mental problem, are we going to allow her to dictate what happens in the appointment of a jurist to the Supreme Court of the United States?
Well, actually, we already have. I mean,
exactly.
She came out of that. And according to the Democrats, we should take Kavanaugh out in back of the White House, build something for him to get on and put a rope around his neck and drop him down a chute or something. I mean, It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous how these people just absolutely are just, they're crazy, man. I don't know any other way to put it. They're crazy.
Well, my question is, did all the Democrats on that panel, did they leave their white sheets at home? Why don't they just put on the white sheet and bring the rope and just lynch Mr. Kavanaugh? That's what they're doing. That is exactly what they're doing.
And I agree wholeheartedly. And the one thing that I kept saying, my wife kept saying, "Shut up," because I was saying, because they were baiting them. They were baiting them to say, "Yes, tell the FBI to come in," and he would not bite. He would not bite, and it was the other senator that got back. And I'm wondering too if that scene at the elevator was a setup. I mean, was that something that they had planned to put in there so he wouldn't feel as bad about, backing out for a week? And every time they back out for a week, it's never a week. It'll be a month. It'll be 2 months. It'll try to be after the November election.
It's just a delay tactic, Joe. That's all it is.
But, absolutely.
I might quote what John Sununu said. They asked him, what do you think about the FBI investigation? He said, well, are they going to go dust the doorknob for fingerprints? What doorknob? On what?
Really.
On what house? On what street? In what town?
Well,
she don't know any of this. So
no, and the other thing is they want to go talk to this Mark guy, who admittedly was an alcoholic, drug problems. Do you think this guy can't remember what he did yesterday, let alone 35 years ago?
Exactly. I'm just saying this. What is really disturbing me, Joe, and it should disturb every American in this country. Do you know what habeas corpus is? Do you know what it gives us as American citizens? It gives us the presumption of innocence. You may think that's not very important in your life, but, well, just wait until they charge you with murder with no evidence. That's when you're going to realize the importance of the presumption of innocence. And that's
Absolutely.
what they're not giving that to Judge Kavanaugh. And
but they gave it to Hillary. I saw a thing on the internet that said, maybe Trump should nominate Hillary to the Supreme Court, and then maybe the FBI will investigate her.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a thought.
Yeah. But, I'll tell you what, Joe, I don't get scared very much. Thank goodness. I have never lived in fear all my life, but I am scared today because I am scared that we are losing our constitutional rights, our traditional values, our system of justice in this country, our everything that we hold dear. They are currently destroying it. And I was born and raised a Democrat, Joe, but the Democrat Party is destroying America and our American values. When are we going to wake up to what the Democrats are doing to our country? I'm just a little bit worried about where we're going, Joe. Did I lose Joe? Joe, I think we lost you. I don't know why, but at any rate, thanks for the call, Joe. And we got Joe back. Oh, we got a break. Y'all hang in there. We got a break coming up. We'll be right back. Okay, there's some of that old Bob Wills music. It kind of brings me back down to a little bit calmer state when I hear old Bob Wills playing that Texas dancing music. Anyway, now I'll get excited again, I guess, when I go talk about current events. I think we got a caller on the line. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Conn, this is Fox. I wanted to make a comment on your Kavanaugh fiasco that's been going on, and this is not to go over what everybody's talking about. I'd like to point out something that nobody's talking about.
Okay, please do.
The first thing we need to consider is how believable Dr. Ford was.
Absolutely.
Everybody on both sides of the bench said, "Oh, she was very believable." And the question came up in everybody's mind. She is so believable, even without evidence, that it was hard to just dismiss what she had to say. Now, what I'd like to bring up is, it was mentioned in the interview that she had a problem with claustrophobia. It was also mentioned she went through some time of therapy. Now, what no one asked her is, when did this therapy take place? How long did it take place? And because I think that's important, was the therapy to get rid of her bad memories or to overcome the claustrophobia? Chances are she went to see a therapist to get rid of her claustrophobia. Now, anybody that knows about long-term therapy knows that the therapist is going to look for a reason for that claustrophobia. And in the process, it's been shown through court trials that an implanted memory often is a result of therapy. In other words, a false memory is implanted to give the reason for the phobia.
Okay.
I wish that somebody had asked that question. Nobody even got to that, but perhaps the FBI will uncover more information about the so-called therapy and what therapy was done.
Well, you bring up an excellent point that I was wanting to get to, and that is, I would like to see a mental evaluation of Ms. Ford. We don't know if this is her imagination, if she had a bad dream some night. We don't know if she was on an antidepressant drug of some kind. We just automatically assume that she's a very truthful, dear, sweet lady that goes to meetings with a vagina hat on to protest Donald Trump. Now, we are assuming a lot about her without asking the questions that you're just now bringing up right now.
Well, and again, I think that Kavanaugh handled it perfectly. He said, I'm not saying that what she is saying didn't happen. I'm not saying that she didn't have this awful experience. I'm just saying that I was not a part of it. And I think that is probably the absolute best response that he could have had, that he could have made.
Well, he can't respond for something he doesn't know about. And that's what he was saying.
Conn, I could add one more thing, if you've got a minute.
Yes, sir.
Several years ago, I had my son with me. He was about 10 years old. It was in Houston. And we went right before Christmas, we went down to the Toys R Us to look for something he might be interested in. And it was windy and cold right before Christmas in Houston. And as we left without buying anything. Therefore, we didn't have a cart or anything like that. As he and I walked across this almost empty parking lot, the wind was blowing very hard, and just as I was getting in my pickup truck, I hadn't really closed the door good until this irate woman and a little girl ran up to me, beating on the side of my truck and telling me she was cussing me out for pushing a cart into her car. And I said, "Lady, I didn't even have a cart." "Don't lie to me." She said, "I saw you with my own eyes. You're the one. I saw you do it." I am a victim of a woman with a memory of something that I didn't do.
Well, exactly.
So I know how I know how this can happen. she was shown drugs. I don't know. But somehow that woman decided I was the one that was guilty.
And how do you
She was
prove?
wrong.
How did you prove that you did not do it? You cannot
I had
prove
a
a negative.
I had my son with me. He said, that woman's crazy. We didn't even have a cart.
Yeah. Well, but had you not had a witness, how can you prove a negative? You can't. You can't prove you didn't do something. You can only prove that you did do something. That's why the term habeas corpus, bring the body. If we think you murdered someone, who did you murder? You know, did you shoot him, stab him, what'd you do? But produce the body or the body of evidence. That's what keeps all of us free from being illegally locked up or prosecuted, or, you know, it's such a fundamental right that we have in this country, and they are destroying it as we speak. If that don't concern every freedom-loving American, you got something wrong with your head. You know, this is really worrying me, and I think it's worrying you also. It should worry every one of us. I keep hearing an echo here. Did we lose you, caller? I think we.
It sounds like maybe he had bad service.
We must have lost our caller. Well, thank you for the call, sir. We enjoyed that, and you brought up a very, very good, logical, common sense question. What about Mrs. Ford? Why don't we do a background investigation on her? Not on Judge Kavanaugh, but on the one bringing the accusation that has no evidence, nothing we can hang our hat on that we would believe her story. You know, a lot of the people on the Judiciary Committee up there, they're real quick to thank her and praise her and be real nice to her. What if she's got a mental problem? Are we going to let her mental problem derail this nomination? Are we going to let people like her control the actions of our U.S. Congress? Yes, caller, go ahead.
This is John calling from Belton. I had a similar thing happen to me. I was at my daughter's baseball game in Copper's Cove, and a young boy disappeared, and everyone was looking for him. And this woman walked up to me and says, what is everybody looking over there for? She said, I just saw the boy. He's right over there. And a policeman drove by about 10 seconds later, and I told him what this woman just said, and she looked at me and said, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, did she imagine it?
She must have imagined it. I don't know. It made me look like a fool.
Well, but yeah, and that's exactly my point. We can't crawl inside her head and figure out why she said what she said. Did she have a bad dream the night before? Was she on an antidepressant drug of some kind? We don't know. But whatever happened to the presumption of innocence? And that is what is being destroyed as we speak in this country. Are we losing America, is my fear. Is this kind of thing, and look at all the comments made by Democrats, comments made by Jimmy Kimmel, comedians at night. Are we losing our country? Are we losing the fundamentals of what makes America great?
Well, Brett Kavanaugh is certainly losing a lot of what he loves and holds dear. You know, he said in his testimony that he loves to teach law and he loves to coach his daughter's basketball team. And because of all of this ridiculousness, he may never be able to do that again.
I was on the internet last night and saw where the students at Harvard don't want him to come back. And it's awful. I mean, what they did to this man. And he's got two strikes against him. One, he's a conservative, and the other, he's a Catholic.
Well,
and he's
even
white.
Billy Graham was when JFK was running for office. Billy Graham was running against, or was putting him down. Didn't want him president of the United States because he was a Catholic. and I think that's wrong. I hope we're over that.
Well, apparently we're not. What happened to the students at Harvard University? Do they not believe in the presumption of innocence?
Evidently, they don't.
And these are future leaders of our country. 20 years from now, we're going to be saying, oh, that man went to Harvard. He is great. He has a degree from Harvard. Now, wait a minute. Do we want those same students to be leaders in our country 20 years from now? If they don't believe in the presumption of innocence today, what will they believe 20 years from now when they get in office? I'm just saying, we are witnessing the destruction of America and everything it stands for.
Let me make one other comment. You're talking about these students, these women, 10 black women that graduated from West Point giving the fists up, the Black Power symbol. Those women are going to go into the military community and write efficiency reports on the people around them. And if you're a white person and they're writing your efficiency report, your career is screwed.
Yeah. Well, it's I had an occasion this week to visit with a lady from Missoula, Montana, and it was really, really scary because she kept bringing up that older white men in the legislature are telling women what they can do with their bodies. And she just went on and on and on about this, and it made me realize that she lives in Missoula, Montana, which is Montana's answer to Berkeley University, and she is a product of that environment. And she was not raised to think like she's thinking. And that is really scary, that you can, for want of a better word, I'll say, you can brainwash people at the university or in that type environment. The lady has been brainwashed. I made mention of the fact that George Soros has spent $200 and something million financing people like Antifa and these agitators that are trying to defeat Donald Trump and trying to destroy America. He is spending millions and millions of dollars to destroy America and our Judeo-Christian society. And her comeback was, oh, the Republicans doing the same thing. I said, okay, which Republican millionaire are you talking about? Well, she couldn't name one. She finally said, oh, the Koch brothers. I said, is that right? Have they spent millions and millions of their dollars to destroy America? But the point is, she has been so brainwashed that she cannot think logically or with common sense. Now, how widespread is that kind of, what do you call it?
Well, I wouldn't call it thinking. I would just call it feeling. I think that the majority of people of that opinion don't think, they don't logic through, they don't analyze, they feel. And their policies and protests and majority of their opinions are based on feelings and this utopian ideal. But we don't live in a utopian society. We live in the real world, and we're human, and none of us are perfect. And we have to adhere to things like finance and economic consequences and reality. And so that kind of opinion that you're talking about, it's not based on any kind of a thought process. It's based on a knee-jerk reaction and how somebody feels. If you tell me, hey, let's give everything free to everybody, well, that sounds great, and I would love to be able to do that if it were possible, but it's not realistically possible. And so that is why conservatism, it's based on reality and recognizing that we do have limitations and we do the best we can within those limitations, but this isn't utopia, and we're not perfect, and we have to do the best we can within those limits.
See, you raise an excellent point. We see so much legislation passed based on emotionalism.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing people brainwashed with emotional issues and emotional comments.
Absolutely.
Well, look at Mrs. Ford. She is making an emotional appeal against Judge Kavanaugh, and it may not be based on anything that is truthful. Let's just forget about truth. Let's use emotion. Let's use lies. Let's use uh, fabricated stories to destroy someone and to destroy a process and to destroy the country that we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's got me scared, folks. Uh, there's a scripture somewhere that says, in the last days, man will confound himself with his own intelligence. Boys, we're there. We're already there. Uh, anyway, John, did you go away or are you still there? Uh, okay, I have a question. We do have another caller. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah, that bunch up there, I listened to that during the whole thing, the confirmation hearing,
Right.
and I'm right proud of Lindsey Graham sticking up for Judge Kavanaugh, because by golly, he just told them how the cow ate the cabbage, and when they're griping about all these, wanting this dead burn FBI investigation, I think they'll investigate every last one of them fools and see where the money went.
Mm-hmm.
See where the money goes.
Yeah.
And that lady that was trying to create all the problems, they need to do an upper and lower GI on her at the same time and meet in the middle and have about a 3-hour teleconference with them fiber optic jobs. That fix her up real good.
I agree with you. I tell you what, I have never been a great big fan of Lindsey Graham, but I am today.
Yeah, he made me proud.
Well, he stood up like a man.
Sure enough.
He acted like a man, and that's what we need. Be it a man or a woman, stand up for something. And
You betcha.
Lindsey Graham stood for something that day. He stood for freedom, for American values, for the rule of law.
Truth.
He stood for so many things by standing up and challenging those enemies of America. Yeah, I'm going to call them enemies of this country. And
well, they ain't got brains gave a dadgum garden slug.
Yeah, and but are we going to re-elect those people? Are we going to send those people back to the Congress? The Cory Bookers of the world and the Chuck Schumers and the people like that will look at...
I know where I'd like to send them.
Yeah, me and you both.
One of them countries like they be ballyhooing everything's free and go on stand in that line from 3 in the morning till noon trying to get your 1 liter of liquor a month or vodka.
I'd help them pack, and you would too.
Yeah.
Right now, we got to go to a
I'll
break.
buy the plane ticket.
There you go. Well, we got to go to a break right now and pay a few bills. Y'all hang in there. We'll be back in just a minute. Tell them about it, Bob. Tell them how to play that old Texas music. But right now we got a caller on the line, so we're going to have to interrupt old Bob. Yes, caller, go ahead.
You never have to interrupt old Bob for me.
Oh.
How you doing today, Conn? This is Tom from Killeen.
Yes, sir, Tom. I guess we're making it. We're having a pretty lively show so far.
Oh yeah, I've had a tough time getting in this morning. I just wanted to bring a couple of things up to you.
Yes, sir.
Last night on Fox News, Dr. Ford, her GoFundMe page that she threw out the little blurb the other day is over $530,000.
I heard that, yeah.
And she's also got her security page, which is over $250,000. Now, you know, my wife has asked me, well, these people wouldn't possibly be doing this for money. Well, don't disbelieve that.
Well,
also, you heard that Judge Kavanaugh's mother was a judge.
Yes.
It's out there that her Judge Kavanaugh's mother ruled against Ford's mother and father in a court case years ago.
That's right.
In a foreclosure action, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So if people don't believe that she doesn't have a grudge,
Or
they're sadly
vendetta.
mistaken.
A vendetta against Judge Kavanaugh.
That's absolutely correct. And thirdly, this Coons that's making all this noise, I just learned last night he is a Democratic representative of Delaware. Now, you know, I've never been on the East Coast, but Delaware contains Maryland. And that's where all of these accusations all come from.
Well, you know, some of these people that are on TV in your face every day, like Mr. Blumenthal, he is a senator. I forgot where he's from, but he's the one that claimed his war experience in Vietnam and all of this kind. It was all a straight lie. He's a lying. Shut up, Conn.
I have met people like him. When I was in California, we had a 3-star general who spent less time in grade from a 1-star general to a 3-star general than I spent as an E4. He claimed he was in Vietnam during the time the CIA was there. It was all a lie.
Yeah, it was. You know, now, you fixed to get me started. I used to have an Army surplus store, and there was a guy came in, and he would lean on the counter and talk about his war experiences in Vietnam, and he would be gone for a few days. Where you been? Well, Agent Orange, I've had to deal with, you know, and then he always had a story about Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he came in, and he was talking about being dropped behind the enemy lines with a 50 caliber BMG. And I said, well, where was the truck? He said, what truck? I said, if you were dropped with a 50 BMG, there had to have been a truck hauling the ammunition for the 50 BMG. You know what a 50 BMG bullet weighs? It's heavy. It's heavy. You know, you don't carry that ammunition around in your pants pocket.
That's right.
So, you know, he just made that up. Later
I
on, a friend of his came in and was talking about him, and he said, said he never left Fort Riley, Kansas.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I had a guy tell me one time that he was a sniper. And I says, well, who were you with? And he says, well, I was with such and such battalion, 11th Marines. Well, the only problem with that was that 11th Marines was an artillery unit.
Yeah.
You know, you catch people in those kind of lies.
Well,
but you need to get yourself a GoFundMe page, and that'll let you cut back on having to have more sponsors join your show, because then you can just pay for it yourself and keep you on the air.
You know,
I really enjoy your show.
well, thank you for that. You know, people like yourself that call in and enjoy the show that is the only reason I do this. I don't do this for money. I do it just to try to help save freedom and the nation we live in. And I'm here to tell you, we better all get involved because this country is going away, folks. But people like yourself and other good callers and people like Lindsey Graham, if America is saved, it will be people like that saves it. It will not be Dr. Ford that saves it. Dr. Ford, like Obama, wants to fundamentally change America. In other words, destroy it. And that's what we're fighting.
Yeah,
We better all join the fight. That's all I got to say.
that's right. Get the vote out.
Well, and talking about that, let me announce real quick, or let Koby announce it, that if you haven't signed up to vote, if you're not registered to vote, you've got to do so before the 9th of this month. That's not very many days left.
Yeah, it says Tuesday, October 9th is the last day to register to vote. That's the first business day after Columbus Day. The first day of early voting by personal appearance is Monday the 22nd. And then the last day to apply for ballot by mail is October 26th. And that would be received, not postmarked. So you'd have to send it in a bit earlier than that.
So if you want to join us in trying to save freedom in America, you've got to be able to vote. Go
Yep.
down there and register before October the 9th. After you don't register and you don't vote, then you don't have the right to call this show and gripe or fuss about what didn't happen. I don't want to hear it. If you don't have guts enough to go down there and vote, I don't want to hear your complaints.
Well, let me throw out there, you can also register to vote online. That's www.bellcountytx.com/departments/elections/voter registration. I'm sure you can Google it. And then you can also go to the Bell County Courthouse in Belton. And the address there is 5500 East 2nd Avenue, Belton, Texas. The phone number is 254-933-5774. If you're looking there. I think you can also go to the Bell County Libraries, the DPS, the Department of Human Services, etc.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot.
Also the Republican headquarters.
There you go,
Yes,
Republican
yes.
headquarters.
Yeah, there's ways to get registered to vote, but you got to want to. You know, you got to put feet to your prayers, so to speak, and go down there and register and vote. I'm telling you, folks, the Republican Party needs your help. America needs your help. And I keep saying, I was born and raised a Democrat. I wouldn't no more associate myself with the Democrat Party than I would the Communist Party or the Muslim Party or the Satan Party. I am convinced they are trying to destroy this country. And, I wouldn't give a damn, except I live here too, folks. And so do you.
And all your grandkids.
Con, I'm going to get off the line and let you take another call. You guys have a blessed day.
Well, I appreciate your call. I enjoyed it, and don't lose the phone number.
No, sir.
We'll talk to you next Saturday, probably.
All right. Thank you much.
Okay, we appreciate that. I got all these notes prepared to do the show, and then I forget about half of them. But I get excited with phone calls like we just had, and anyway, to satisfy my wife so I won't get a divorce when I get home, I need to announce the Fall Festival in Davila, Texas. Now, Davila is on Farm Road 487, and that goes from Gerald down through Rockdale, but that is Davila, Texas. It is just south of Rogers. At any rate, there's going to be a fall festival on October the 6th, which I believe is next Saturday.
That's right.
And it's just a good time for everybody. You'll be glad that you brought your kids, and just have fun there. It's just fun and games. There's a ring toss and a fish pond and a cakewalk and an apple bobbing and a...
I'm in charge of the fish pond.
Oh, okay. Kobe's in charge of 6.
And we've got some cute prizes.
That means that there might be some 25-pound bass in that fish pond. But there's going to be food and cookies and
a petting zoo and a bounce house for the kids.
All kind of stuff. So y'all bring your family and come on out on October the 6th. It starts at 5 p.m. and it'll run till 9 p.m. So
there's a fun fireworks show there at the end.
Yeah.
And lots of great prizes. Ma's already got them all ready for the silent auction and for the raffle. A couple of them actually come from Emporium Spice Company there in Temple. And we actually wanted to thank them for their generosity in donating both
nice
of those
people.
baskets. They're just too cute. And one's for the raffle, one's for the silent auction. And you know, if you need any good fresh spices for your holiday baking, try them out. I guess their address is 23208 Southeast HK Dodge and Loop. It's there where the old Tractor Supply building is. The phone number is 254-774-9098, and it's a real nice place. So
okay,
check
we
'em
got
out.
we got to go to the top of the hour, folks. It has been a fast 1 hour. We got an hour left, so y'all hang in there. I have said in the past, and I'll continue to say it, I am dang proud of being an American, a Southerner, and a Texan.
Dang right.
And I do not apologize for any of that. I like America. I like the South. I like the manners that I learned in the South. I like the morals that I learned in the South. And in Texas, I like Texas music, like old Bob Wills. At any rate, I think we got a caller on the line. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Good day, Mr. Conn and Miss Koby.
Oh, Ed, how you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Oh, well, we're here.
Okay.
I'm trying to get over getting mad yesterday watching all those hearings, and then when I heard about what Bill Maher had to say, I just got so mad. It's a good thing I didn't have a sawed-off 12 gauge. I'd have shot the TV plumb out of the living room.
Well, here, let me fire you up a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
My observation is that Judge Kavanaugh's accuser is delusional. We're being forced to accept these made-up accusations as reality. Reality is not what attention seekers say for personal gain. This seems to be the new normal in today's America.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Koby was saying. We're letting emotion rule instead of common sense and logic.
And reality.
You brought up scripture. I like to bring up the words of Pontius Pilate to the Lord when he asked, "What is truth?" Well, truth is not what we fabricate, but what is fact.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Amen.
Amen. Your previous caller brought up the GoFundMe page and other methods of financial gain to be made from this spectacle. Perhaps even funding from George Soros. This woman presented herself as being somewhat imbalanced.
Yeah. And you know, I keep saying, Ed, and I guess I say it too much, but when you reward bad behavior, what the hell do you expect to get more of? You know, she's being rewarded with $500,000. That's like hollering sick 'em to a dog. You're going to have women with mental problems coming out of the woodwork to do the same thing. She is setting an example that will be followed by other people. And it's all about the lie. It's not about the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that the Stormy Daniels fiasco probably set the pace for that sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah, the Me Too movement thing, if you will. And see, if you reward people with money or with fame or with attention on TV for making these kind of false accusations, now, maybe I don't know that they're false. I don't know if they are or not. But she has not proven anything to me yet. She might, the FBI might come out and prove it to be true. But they're going to have it to do because I haven't seen any proof of it yet, and nobody else has either. But we're willing to destroy our whole system of government, that being the presumption of innocence. We are willing to destroy that because of one possibly mentally ill lady.
Right, all backed and funded by these Soviets that are also known as the Democratic Party.
Yes, yes. And it really pains me to say that, Ed. Like I say, I was born and raised a Democrat. My daddy and mother were Democrats. But I tell you what, I want nothing to do with them now. What they represent in this country is, I believe, is pure evil. Now, one Democrat, Mrs. Hildebrandt, made the statement that the presumption of evil, the presumption of innocence, is evil. Why does she make the statement that the presumption of innocence, a constitutional right in this country, why would she say it is evil? Whose side is she on? Do you think she's on God's side?
There's an agenda there.
There is.
It's an evil agenda.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to get off the air and let somebody else talk. You take good care of them cows.
Hey, we're gonna feed them old cows every day.
All right.
The more I watch politics on TV and then go feed cows, I like them cows better every time I feed them.
God bless you.
Thank you, Ed. Be careful up there in that cold country. Okay, one thing I wanted to get to, and I think that we have talked enough about the Kavanaugh hearings, but let me see who this caller is first. I hate to belabor the Kavanaugh thing, but it is something that we need to take seriously and talk about and consider, because we're talking about destroying constitutional rights in this country. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hello, Conn. This is Rick.
Yeah.
Hey, a lot of people say that Mrs. Ford is credible, but I don't think she was. She cried with no tears, and when I saw Kavanaugh, it just about broke my heart.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I could tell that man is. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. It's affected me these last few days.
Well, he meant what he said. He was speaking from the heart.
And I agree with you about Lindsey Graham. I've never seen him act more like a Republican than he did at that hearing.
Well, and like an American. Like
something.
He acted like a freedom-loving America that is willing to stand up for what he believes.
In fact, ever since John McCain, God rest his soul, passed away, Graham has acted more like a Republican.
Yes, he has. And I'm going to add to that, he's acted more like a Republican American.
Yeah, a conservative, a true conservative.
Yes, yes.
And that makes you wonder, doesn't it? But, getting back to Miss Ford, she obviously has an agenda, and the ones that I really, let's say something really happened to her and she thinks it was Kavanaugh. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. The real dirty pool here was Dianne Feinstein.
Yes.
The way that she handled the whole thing, it was orchestrated. It was underhanded. It was on purpose. And that woman is just, I guess I'm going to use the word evil.
Well,
and then
you're absolutely, that's a good description of her. She is evil, but So is Richard Blumenthal, Chuck Schumer, Cory Booker, and the list goes on, and every dad blame one of them has got a D behind their name. When are we going to wake up to that?
And did you see that little those protesters surround what's his name?
In the elevator?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was just.
And the press just happened to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's now you're getting Rick. You're gonna get me all stirred up. Who are we following in this country? Who are the new leaders? Is it Antifa that screams and hollers, "No borders, no walls, no USA at all"? Is that who we want to lead the country?
And one more thing, I know. I hope some women chime in. I know you've got one with you, but I hope some women call in and chime in and give their perspective, because I know a woman that I've known for over 25 years that went through more horrible things when she was a kid than anybody I've ever met. Okay, she got married. She had 4 kids who all grew up to be responsible adults. She's got grandchildren now. She worked hard, and she never even hardly mentions what happened to her, and she doesn't really remember it, but she knows it happened, and it was. I don't even want to go into how horrible it was, because it was from her own father. And
see, that's the kind of thing that I asked the question, where was the uncles? Where was the grandfather? Where were the next door neighbors? People don't like to talk about citizens, the militia, whatever else it is, but there are situations where if the father's doing that, or the boyfriend's doing that, and you hear all the time about some teenage girl that somebody molested. Where's her father? Where's her grandfather?
Yeah. See, what happened to my friend is she got put in foster care with the rest of her siblings. So something did get done with that.
Yes.
But that was a long time ago, when those things were all swept under the rug, and they lived out in a farming community in a dairy, so nobody really knew what was going on until finally somebody stepped in and did something. But in those days it was a lot different than it was in the 80s. And what happened to Miss Ford was basically some guy jumped on top of her while she was drunk and attempted to take her clothes off and keep her from screaming. She escaped and ran out of the place and got a ride home. So,
but we don't really know that happened, Rick.
And even if it did, I'm not saying that it wouldn't traumatize a woman. I'm just saying that is nothing compared to what happened to my friend, and she is a perfectly fine person and was a great mother and a great worker and
raised a good family,
Yes. So that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to let you get back to the show. And I hope some women call in. And I just want to repeat that it broke my heart seeing Judge Kavanaugh and what they've done to him. And I agree with Lindsey Graham, and I like that last guy, Senator Kennedy. I like what he did at the end of the hearing. He said, "Look me in the eye and tell me that you didn't do those things, and swear to God." And that was a perfect way to end that.
Yes, it was.
Anyway.
See, one of the themes that I wanted to bring up on this show, and I'm going to take this opportunity to do so.
All right, bye.
Thank you for the call, Rick. We always appreciate his calls. My question for the show is, who do we want to follow? Do we want to follow the examples of people like Dianne Feinstein, Richard Blumenthal, Chuck Schumer, Jimmy Kimmel, Bill Maher? Is that the new leaders that we want to follow? These people are evil. These people want to destroy the American republic that we live in.
Well, and
is that the new leaders?
Along with that, what do we hold most dear? Do we care about truth and justice?
Absolutely.
Or do we just care about, this hashtag Me Too? Oh, you're a woman, so I'm going to believe what you say no matter what. As a woman, never have I ever experienced anything, of this sort. Thank goodness. I'm so grateful for that. And that is why I am so impressed by Kavanaugh's response. He said, I don't doubt that something happened to you. You should definitely be heard. You should get help. Absolutely. In no way am I denying that something could have happened to you. I'm just telling you that I was not involved. But so many people, instead of prioritizing, instead of caring about truth and justice and the way our nation is set up, their priorities lie in hashtag Me Too. Well, she's a woman and she's saying this, so nothing else matters. We need to believe her 100%.
And that's an excellent point. Do we believe her when it might be imagination? It might be true, but prove it. We are a nation where the presumption of innocence is what keeps all of us free from the jail, from false accusations, from all kinds of problems.
Well, and an established equality.
Exactly.
His word should mean just as much as hers does. And at this point, we're seeing her words and her story value more than his.
Well, exactly. And is this the American way? Do we want to just take a rope and go hang him right now based on what she's saying? That's what they did back during the witch hunts in Salem in the 1600s or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Do we want to go back to that kind of a society? I don't think so.
I think we have a caller.
Yes, I think we do. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Yes. I'm the other Rick in Salado.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. I just want to sort of kind of change the subject for a few. Are we allowed to do that?
You better believe it. Please do.
Oh, okay. I know they've been beating a Kavanaugh horse now. Maybe he might be able to win the triple crown.
Might.
But anyway, have you ever heard of what's called the surveillance community, Five Eyes? It's United Kingdom, United States, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. They've got an agreement to exchange information between one another, right?
Okay.
You ever heard of it?
I haven't heard of it, but
Five Eyes. Yeah, you can look it up. It's there.
Well, go ahead and educate me.
All right. Yeah, no problem. It's an agreement where their intelligence community, it's a legal way to. It's called UK-USA agreement. Anyway, because the United Kingdom and Canada and New Zealand and Australia, we're just one big happy family, right? we're the child that got away from the crown.
Yeah.
So we've stuck together as far as the Western civilization.
Well, hopefully we have similar values.
Right, we do. And one of the things that we do is that we exchange information. They can spy on us legally and exchange that information with the government, and we can do the same with their government, right? As long as we don't reveal our sources and stuff like that.
Right. It's
just one big happy family. That's how they do it, and that's probably why Trump hasn't released those documents from the FBI.
Yeah.
Because Australia is one of the players, and also United Kingdom's one of the players in the collusion side of the equation.
Yeah.
It's the Democrats versus the Republicans. Well, the Democrats right now have the upper hand on the accusations, right? But anyway, that what I'm getting at is also, in addition to this agreement. We've got the Trump. He's not sitting on his back's haunches and not doing anything. Okay, you know that, right? He's pretty much on top of this.
Well, the proof's in the pudding.
You bet.
Look at the
results.
Come up,
or look it up on 21 December 2017. Trump issued an executive order. Have you heard about that one?
Tell us about it.
Okay, here it is. Let's see if I got it right here. I think I got it. Anyway, it's a it's about blocking the funds of the people that are suspected of let's see, here it is. Well, I lost it, but anyway, he's declared a national emergency in this executive order. Okay, and
I hope he's
a lot of times
I hope he's blocking the funds of George Soros. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of these executive orders, the title of the executive order is not necessarily what's inside of the executive order.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of legalese, and they disguise a lot of stuff to get things through. But essentially, anybody that's involved in money laundering and all this human trafficking, and they're making a lot of money off of this and that and stuff like that, he's authorized to freeze their money. Okay, he's going to lock down on a lot of the cash that's going to and from the United States of America with all this illegal stuff going on, and some other stuff. But anyway, because he's authorized a national emergency, and he stated it in the executive order, 21 December 2017, he's already preparing to drop a lot of indictments on these people. Okay, so with Kavanaugh waiting in the wings, 1 October it comes up on Monday, and Monday is the day that the Supreme Court opens up their annual session. Well, he's got to have Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court so that whenever he starts dropping the hammer on these people, okay?
Oh, there's going to be a backlash.
He's going to drop the hammer on them, okay? You wait and see.
They're going
when
to,
he gets
the
scream last guy, huh?
I said they're going to scream and holler and make accusations and try to destroy Donald Trump.
Well, it's high stakes poker now, and that's what they're going to do right now, and that's what's happening. Okay, he's preparing these people in the United States of America, and he's going to ride out this election, and it's going to affirm his reelection. This is essentially, this midterm is his reelection. Okay.
Well,
midterms.
I'll say again, if America is saved, it'll be Donald Trump that does it.
And that's why he's being vilified.
Right now,
they are running scared.
Rick, we got to go to a break.
Okay, yeah. Hey, no, but what I'm saying is check it out.
Yeah, by all means. And I appreciate your call. Right now, we got to go pay a few bills. So y'all hang in there. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, we're going to dedicate that song to me and Lindsey Graham.
And me.
And Koby, by all means, and Koby, yes. And continuing kind of what I was saying a while ago, and that song kind of reminds me of it. Are we following the example of Jimmy Kimmel talking about doing something to Judge Kavanaugh? Are we talking about Bill Maher criticizing what Lindsey Graham had to say? Are we talking about Richard Blumenthal, who had big stories about Vietnam, was all a lie? Are we going to follow liars and thieves and, the anti-American crowd? There's so many of them, and I hate to say this, but most of them have a D after their name. Is that who we want to follow? Is that who we want to vote for in this next election? I better talk this caller before I get stirred up again. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Is that for me?
That's for you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Your job is to calm me down just a little bit.
Oh, I don't know if this will calm you down. I apologize if it doesn't. I'm Carol in Toledo.
Yes, ma'am.
And I have just 2 paragraphs I'd like to read to you about Cory Booker.
Yes, ma'am.
You may know about all this already, but I hope it's not redundant. Okay, first paragraph. When he was in high school, Cory Booker, the New Jersey Democrat and possible White House contender, groped his classmate as they kissed. He reached for her breast, and when she swatted his hand away, he made another attempt. Second paragraph. The incident resurfaced this week as Booker joined up calls for an FBI investigation into the allegation of high school-era sexual assault leveled by Christine.
You're saying what's good for the goose is good for the gander?
You nailed it, Conn. I love it. Anyway, so he was accused of the same thing. But do we hear about that? This is in 1992. And it's a lot closer to go to that year than it is her year.
And I bet we can find a witness to that.
I'll bet you anything, but who's going to dig that up? Is the FBI going to check into that?
No.
He's a Democrat. Democrat. Demon crap is what I call him.
Well, and I'm reluctant to talk about Democrats that way, but tell me, what are they? What is their goal? What do they want to do to the country we live in? Let's go back to what Obama said. His first utterance out of his mouth was, "I want to fundamentally change America." He was saying he wanted to fundamentally destroy America. He appointed John Brennan to head the CIA. What was John Brennan? I can make a case that he was a communist Muslim. Is that who we want to run the CIA?
Really?
So does the Democrat Party, are they dedicated to destroying our country? The one here running against Ted Cruz, he wants open borders. He wants to amend the Second Amendment or destroy it or whatever. But look at the things that he's standing for.
Yes.
Is he pro-American? No.
Nope. Speaking of Cruz, my husband and I noticed a recording, a video of him and his wife in D.C. after whatever thing that they went through, going to a restaurant. And protesters were in their face, around their table, shouting different sayings to them. And they were so loud, they got up, Cruz and his wife got up, he put his coat back on, and he asked them to make way for his wife, and they left the restaurant. Now, don't they realize that people in D.C., there are a few in D.C. that feel the way we do, will probably boycott that restaurant now? Because these people did not ask these protesters to leave. They let them go. I mean, they just let them rant and rave.
Well, and that brings up an excellent subject, Carol. Where was the owner of the restaurant? Where were the people in the restaurant that should have defended Ted Cruz or any other customer? Had he been a Democrat, they should have defended him. But did they run out of guts about that time, or what?
I think they emptied their guts and started cooking them in the kitchen. I don't know. They were gutless.
Well, it's like somebody asked me, Lynn, I think, said, had you been at the restaurant, I think in San Antonio, where the man grabbed the cap off of the 15-year-old boy and threw water in his face? He said, what would you have done? I said, the very least I would have done would have been to stand up and stand between that moron and that kid. That's the very least that I would have done.
Exactly. I would have even done that had I witnessed something like that.
I'll bet you would have. I bet my granddaughter right here, Koby, would have done that. But,
sure enough.
Are men in this country losing their spine, for want of a better word? We need to stand up and defend freedom. We need to defend those who can't defend themselves. If someone is in a wheelchair and someone is harassing him, I'm going to stand up and say something. I'm going to do something. Well,
right.
Have we in America lost that? Is that gone? Because when we lose that, we've lost America, folks.
Well, sir, I am 71. I have problems with my legs, therefore I cannot walk very long. So my husband bought me this scooter, and it's a four-wheeler, like, little thing. Anyway, we pulled into a handicapped spot at a restaurant, and the car next to us was on the line that you see next to a handicapped thing, for people to get in and out of their machinery in and out, a little extra space there that's lined, and a car should not park on those lines. This car, I couldn't use my scooter. There was no way I could get through. So I had to walk, very tired, and my husband braced me up, and we went into the restaurant. But people don't care. That's what's wrong with this opposite side that we're on. I call it a totally opposite side. They don't care.
Well,
like Corey said, it's all feelings.
Carol, the whole thing of decency, morality, truth, all of this is being abandoned in our country. For example, go down to Walmart, H-E-B, wherever, and notice how many shopping carts people just leave in the middle of the parking spot. They won't walk 10 feet to put it where it's supposed to be. Notice how many people drink a bottle of water and then just drop the empty bottle on the ground. Look at just the pure, what do I say?
Lack of
lazy,
courtesy.
Lack of decency, lack of morality. What is happening to our country? And it really has me concerned, Carol. And like I'm saying about the Democrats, that are we going to follow those people that are dedicated to overthrowing our country? Is that who we're going to follow?
God forbid, I tell you. Well, I'm very proud to say that my husband and I raised a son and a daughter who feel like we do today. And my son turned 50. I'm not very proud of that. It's hard to believe. But at any rate, he holds true to down-earth values and common decency, courtesy, stuff like that. If he sees something on the cement that shouldn't be there, trash, he'll pick it up, and then he'll stand up and say, who does this stuff? who defaces this town, or it's trash. It belongs in a certain spot. Well, at any rate, my daughter's the same. I just could go on and on, but I've taken plenty of your time, and I really appreciate it, Conn.
Well,
and Corey, I imagine you're just the same way as my son and daughter.
I do try.
Yeah.
I am very proud of my family. I really am.
Yeah.
But we tried to raise them right. And let me repeat something that my earliest memory of my mother. I better shut up, I guess. But the first memory I have of my mother is her saying, "Conn J, I'd rather see you die a man than to live a coward."
There you go. Wise woman.
Well,
very wise woman.
That has kind of guided my life. I'm a little bit like Lindsey Graham.
Sure.
I think that we have to stand for something, and we have to stand for truth and honesty and Christian values. If we don't stand for something, we will fall for anything. And apparently the Democrat Party stands for nothing but lies, and there's nothing that they won't stoop so low as to do to help their position and protect their power. I am so disappointed in Democrats. I could just anyway.
I know. I feel you, Conn.
Okay. Well,
like the young kids say, I feel you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the call, Carol. You be careful out there.
Thank you, and you do the same.
I got to try to pay a few bills around here. Extreme hose out there on highway. Well, it's out there right between Midway and Belton. I'm trying to find their address here. Extreme Hose and Hydraulics. They're at 5300 South General Bruce Drive, and their phone number, y'all need to write this down, their phone number is 254-231-3403. Now, they repair hydraulic hoses, have fittings, all kind of things hydraulic. I've been using them for several years, and they have been very good to me. I take a worn out hydraulic hose in there, and they will fix it quick, fast, and in a hurry and give it back to me. They're just good people, so if y'all need something like that, we'll go out there and see them or call them. They work on the hydraulic hoses, cylinders, all kinds of things hydraulic. That's Extreme Hose and Hydraulics. Y'all give them a holler. Okay, another one I need to talk about here just a little bit. Nolanville DAV. That's the Nolanville Disabled American Vets. Old Greg Dunham out there and his wife, they're located at 4601 East Avenue H, and they are there to help disabled vets and the spouses of disabled vets. They're just really good people. So if you're a disabled vet or the spouse of a vet, give them a holler out there. Their phone number is 859-620-0879. That's 859-620-0879. Give them a holler out there, and they will sure try to help you any way they can. I think we have got to go to break. Y'all hang in there. We'll be right back. I need a phone number for. Okay, here we are back on the air. Hate to interrupt old Bob there, but I better say something about Alpha Hydraulics over there in Spiegelville. Alpha Hydraulics will work on your anything hydraulic motors, hydraulic valves, they just fixed a valve for me not long ago. They're just good folks, and they're out on North Highway 6 in Waco, Texas. If you go across the Lake Bridge, they're right up there in Spiegelville is where they are. Their address is 8468 North Highway 6 in Spiegelville. And their phone number up there is 254-848-9981. If you need something like that done, give old Larry a holler up there. He's just awful good at what he does. That phone number again is 848-9981, area code 254. They work on all kinds of hydraulic stuff. Like the big concrete breaking hydraulic hammers on an excavator. They even work on that kind of stuff. Big stuff. So give them a holler if you need something worked on that's hydraulic. Mention real quick a fellow named Bill Schumann. He is our county commissioner here and just a good guy. I can't say enough good things about Bill. He's also a sponsor of this show, but there's no use giving his phone number. All I just say about him is he's just a good guy. So if he runs for any public office, if he wants to run for president, I'll support him. But if he just hangs in here at the county commissioner's office, I'll support him for that too. But y'all just remember that name, Bill Schumann. He's just a good guy. At any rate, I think we got a caller. No, we don't. Okay. Back to what I was saying a while ago. Who do we want to stand for? Do we want to stand with and stand for Bill Maher? Do we want to stand for Jimmy Kimmel? Do we want to stand for Chuck Schumer? For Cory Booker? Carol was just talking about when he molested a young lady in high school. Nobody's talking about that, and now he wants to run for president. And there are people that would support that sorry rascal, I guess. But who do we stand with? Who do we believe in? I keep asking the question, but who are we with? What do we stand for? Do we stand for Christian values like truth? Or do we stand for the lie? Someone said once, the father of all lies is Satan. Now, when you see people standing up and just lying like a dog, who do they follow? I keep saying in this country now, boys, there ain't but two sides in this fight. There's Satan and there's God. You better pick a side. You better choose whose side you're on. Joshua, back in the old days, made the statement, and I had it right here, but I guess I lost it. At any rate, basically it said, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Well, as for me and my house, we're going to stand for constitutional freedom. We're going to stand for America. And we're not going to be with these liberal Democrats that want to destroy the country we're living in. When are we going to figure out, folks, that if they are successful at destroying American values, constitutional values like the presumption of innocence, when they are successful at destroying that, your children and grandchildren will not have it. And it won't be that long because you won't have it either. So is that what we want in this country? Do we want to stand by, idly, do nothing, and watch the Democrats destroy people like Judge Kavanaugh? Is that what we want? Do we want to side with Chuck Schumer and Dianne Feinstein and Maxine Waters and Hillary and people like that. Now, we've got a very serious vote coming up here real quick in about 30 days or so, and we're going to have to decide whether we want to back those people in the Democrat Party, or do we want to stand for truth? Do we want to stand for the American way? Because I'm here to tell you, them Democrats running for office today in this upcoming election, they are not standing for truth, folks. They're with the other guy. And like I say, you got to be careful getting me all stirred up here.
Well, and as a reminder, on that, the last day to register to vote is October 9th. Tuesday, October 9th. You can do it online. I just went online on my smartphone. You can register to vote, or you can even just verify that you already are registered. So make sure you get that done before October 9th.
Well, and let me say one more thing. I have been encouraged here lately to to be more positive, to be nicer, to bring up all of the good things that are happening. And Donald Trump is making a lot of very good things happen. And people like Ted Cruz are helping him to make good things happen. So I've been encouraged to talk more about the positive, good things that are happening. And I understand what they're saying, and I try to do that, but we have to stand for something. And when we see evil and we see wrongdoing, we have to stand up and say it. I think about the scripture in the Bible about sounding the watch cry. If you're the watchman on the wall and you see danger coming, you see the enemy coming, then you can sound the watch cry or you can remain silent. If you sound the watch cry and the people don't heed that cry, the sin is upon their head. But if you don't sound the watch cry, the sin is upon your head. Well, I don't intend for the sin to be on my head. I'm going to sound the watch cry, and I'm sounding it right now as I speak. We had better wake up and pay attention to what is happening to our country. I keep saying this about Mr. Kavanaugh, but when they destroy his presumption of innocence, they've destroyed yours right along with it. So if we want to remain free in this country, we better go register to vote. You've got to be registered before October the 9th. Go down to the courthouse. There's a lot of places you can go. Koby just registered to vote on
my smartphone. Yep. I was already registered, but you can go online and verify that you're registered or register. Takes just a couple of minutes, real easy to do.
Okay, there's a testimony of how easy it is to do it, folks. So go down there and register to vote, and then go vote. But let's study the issues. Don't just go down there and vote based on the emotional issues. Study the issues and apply some common sense and logic to what you're voting for. Look at the people and what they stand for. The guy running against Ted Cruz wants open borders. We keep hearing, and it's so true, if you don't have borders, you don't have a country. Do we want to not have a country? Do we want to vote for a man that wants open borders? He wants free medical, free food, free everything for everybody. He's a Democrat socialist like Bernie Sanders. Do we understand what socialism is? Do we know what democratic socialists are? Have we looked lately at Venezuela? Do you want to copy their model and convert America into a socialist country? If that's what you want to do, you better get used to eating zoo meat, because that's what they're having to eat in Venezuela. They're eating the animals out of the zoo. So is that what we want here? I don't want that.
And that's the thing that's so amazing to me is we know if America is to fall, we know what awaits us. It's not unknown. It's not a secret. There are examples, there are modern day examples all throughout history. We know that if we don't do our part, we know what we're going to get, and we know that it's not good.
And socialism has failed in many countries for many, many years. And now we have people running as Democrats in America, running for office that are avowed socialists. And we're going to think about voting for them. What are we using for brains, people? I better shut up before I get excited here, but we had better all get excited. We better all stand for freedom and stand for America and the American way of life and the Judeo-Christian way of life that we have here in this country. If you don't like Judeo-Christian way of life, move to Syria. They don't have it over there. Move to Iraq. They don't have it there either. Some places over there, if you're a Christian, they just put you down on your knees, tie your hands behind your back, and cut your head off. If that's what you want, go on over there. I'm kind of like that song we had there a while ago. When you're cussing America, mister, you're working on the wrong side of me. So I think that we're coming to the end of this show. This was a fast 2 hours. Y'all hang in there, and we'll be back next week. In the meantime, if you want to support this show, go find me a sponsor, because if we don't find some more, we're going to end the show.
And come out and see us in the Villa next Saturday.
Yeah.
5 to 9.